Go ahead.
Okay. Deep within
Coming to you live
from deep within a muddy.
It's springy over here.
Yeah, surprisingly, it is also springy here in Canada, in this part of Canada, anyway.
Yeah,
From
also
muddy
here.
and leafy and sort of gray, radioactive wasteland.
Somewhat dog poopy.
Of the oh god, no shit. Actually, lots of shit. We are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse.
Also, the dog shit poop apocalypse.
The spring poop apocalypse. Coming to you live from deep within the radioactive wasteland. We are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into the battle against the froggy lobster zombie trans-privileged hordes. This is Fundzerker.
Yeah, I'll give you the number. 167. Number 167.
167. Trans men can't have privilege that would make them trans women. Now, you've probably noticed, if you've been paying attention, that we did respond to this video on Wednesday, but now we get to listen to Karen respond.
I just want to clarify something. I thought this whole time I was doing Fundzerkers with you, it was like the zombie froggy lobster hordes.
Hordes.
No, I thought it was the whores this whole time.
No, it's
now
hordes.
I feel betrayed and lied to.
The lobster whores.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the whores could be another horde.
Female
there could be a
lobsters
horde
are
of
total
whores.
sluts. They're total sluts.
Arrange our society on the lines of the lobster whore.
Yeah, along the lines of the lobster whores. Anyway, like the hottest freaking Andrew Tate lobster, he gets all the pussy. Yeah, lobster horse.
The crustacean hole, whatever they have. I don't even think they have. They don't have internal fertilization.
They got like tail things that like.
I think they just eject the eggs into the ocean and then.
No. They have them like they like deposit them on their like bellies and then it's like if you like wore a fanny pack full of like ova. And then, like, some dude splooged all over them, and then, like, he grew a bunch of eggs on there.
Okay.
So,
all right. I should probably do the business before we start.
Yeah, do the business.
Okay, so we are doing a monthly fundraiser, as you may know. So if you could please take a moment to go to feedthebadger.com/support. You can put it in another tab. You don't have to leave this, our lovely voices to go do it. feedthebadger.com/support. Every bit helps. $5, $10, whatever you can spare really helps. But we do have to ask, and you do have to, or please consider helping us out, because we exist and we've existed for time immemorial because you make sure to fund us. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support. And
let's see if we can get to 10 years of this.
10 years of
10 years of this.
That's August. That's August this year. So that's
that would be cool. I'm gonna take another Benadryl, so get prepared for me to be even weirder. So
I am. My body is ready for you to top lobster whores.
Lobster, zombie, and froggy whores, Allison. All three. They're whores.
With your fanny pack of ovum.
Lobster, zombie, froggy, whore, and hordes. Hordes of whores.
Yeah, no, they're like Scandinavian women. They just never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence the horde. All right. Did you finish your
and
chill?
Also, if you want to send us a message that we will read on air, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetitish. I almost said just the tit, didn't I? Tip.
Just the
feedthebadger.com/
just the tit would be less offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, no. Like, there's nothing wrong with a boob. You'd put a boob in a baby's mouth. You wouldn't put the tip in a baby's mouth, would you?
You know,
Well,
you're scratching a lot. You're like, could you maybe?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna take my house coat off and sit here and shiver and freeze. But
is it cold where you
your
are?
comfort's not critical, but this, yeah. Okay, so once again, that's goodthebadger.com/justthetip. If you want to send us a message, you can avoid YouTube's incredibly fickle, however they determine who is sending a bad message, which seems to change daily. And we get the full benefit of the moolah. So please go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a tip and a message.
Links to
All right,
support us are
one.
all in the description. So if you want, you can just go into the description box and you'll find what you're looking for: the donation link, as well as the fundraising link. Sorry, didn't mean to say the D word, as well as the super chow link. So,
all right, and I should probably read this because there was an individual who sent $100 super chow, but the comment didn't go through because he sent a comment that was over the 2,000K character limit for.
So even super chows have a character limit.
Yeah, even super chows just don't go over the 20,000K limit. So here maybe writes, "Hi Alison, Brian, and everyone. This comment is about open up to your abusive wife. The fear of death is one of the most powerful drivers on earth. So in order for a man to protect his female partner when attacked in the street, risking his own life instead of running away, I think nature made men evolve so that losing their female partners because they died or broke up after when they were ineffective in protecting her is worse than death. I think that's why breakups are so harsh on men, and the fear of breakup can be used against them. Losing a male partner for the average woman is more like losing a beautiful house. It can be replaced by another house at least as beautiful. Losing a female partner for the average man is more like losing a child. Nothing can replace this loss." Okay, I'll throw that out there. Anybody want to comment on that?
I just want to say that if you're wondering when we did this show, for people who want to watch it, there's a video called "Open Up to Your Abusive Wife or You're Abusing Her," maintaining frame number 44, which was maybe last week, I think. So not that long ago.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think it's true, except for one thing. Lesbians also have a high rate of suicide after relationship breakup, so maybe it's just being in a relationship with a woman. That's the call. I don't know.
I don't know if gay men have a high suicide rate after a breakup. So maybe not.
No, they just shake hands and be like,
yeah, right. They part ways. They shake on it like sportsmen
or whatever. Yeah.
So
shake hands.
Yeah. No, I think
through, then move on.
I think you're right that it really is kind of, because the role of the man is that the woman depends entirely on him. I guess that's like the sort of the cultural role, the social role, and if like, and so he sort of, he lives his life and he develops and he's like, okay, I'm going to be, everything that's important to this woman. And then she's just like, yeah, no. I think that there's something to that. And there's also something to just the fact that men experience rejection so much more frequently than women do. That women sort of, at least they feel they're inculcated and maybe instinctively feel that they can be choosier, and so like women always feel like they have options and men often don't, right?
That's true.
Sort of invest in one woman who's going to have their babies, and then if she leaves him, it's just really not good. And I think a lot more men go all in a relationship than women do. Like, I think that there are women and men who do, and there are women and men who don't, but I think that it's probably like there are more men who actually go all in, who are like, no, until death do we part, like we're going to be together forever. you know, as Rick
Yeah.
Astley said.
Yeah, I
All
think.
right, can we get?
Well, yeah, we can get into the things, but thank you for the donation. Maybe. Okay, so if you guys are in my thing, I wanted to show you another clip first because I saw this morning. I couldn't find the original of this. Let me put up the sources here. But the Hodge twins did a reaction to this, and it's a TikTok video, I think, but I couldn't find it. Okay, what?
The Hodge twins.
Yeah, the Hodge twins. Yeah,
I freaking yeah. Every oh. Yeah, no, every time I watch them, it's like I'm watching a Bill Burr special, only black.
Yeah, they're very funny though. My favorite videos, because they have like a bazillion channels, but my favorite videos actually are of them going through the drive-through in different like fast food places and getting food. I mean, those are they just kill me. And because they're bodybuilders, they're always talking about whether or not they're bulking or they're cutting. It's so funny, man. But anyway, so this video clip is provided by the Hodge twins. I can't find the original one, but I think it communicates the thing I wanted to talk about. So this is a trans man here, okay? And listen, well, actually, it's not even. It's more complicated than that. But let's hear this.
It's she, her, hers.
What?
And you're lucky. You're lucky I'm not trying to be a man. Because if I was,
you got me.
I'd be much better than you are.
Oh, let me play the rest of it. So just in case you didn't hear it, she transitioned, but she still identifies with she, her pronouns. And she doesn't want to be a man, but she did the work to look like a man. She transitioned, and she says that, you're lucky that I'm not actually a man because I'd be a better man than you. And then she says...
For men?
No,
really?
For women. 2 women, because let me play the rest of it.
I listen to women. I respect them. I mean, and most importantly...
Get a dog.
My shit, it don't go down.
What's the dog like? What
the dog doing?
What the dog doing? I don't care about this skinny ass dude. What the dog doing?
Dog.
That's not a dude, Allison. She, her pronouns.
Right. Sorry, she. I don't care about this woman. I want to know what the dog doing.
It's just in the background. Trying to figure out what she's doing. But
I think she's trying to figure out what she's doing. So what was the point of all that? Like,
this is the thing. Well, this is the thing.
Okay, I'm seeing shoulder tattoos, chest tattoos, and facial tattoos. A 6-pack, full sleeves, buzzed head, and is that socks in her
ugly
pants?
ass pants.
Yeah, they don't really fit her very well. But,
no, they're just ugly.
But
what is your overall message?
Okay, but I just want to know, how is this on YouTube? Because this is a woman and her nipples are showing.
But she's a trans woman, so you have to treat it like a man's chest. That's how they do it.
No. Karen's got a point. She identifies as a woman.
She does. You're right. She should have worn a top of some kind. This is really confusing.
A woman's nipples are not allowed to be shown on YouTube.
Yeah, not male nipples either.
No, male nipples are everywhere.
I don't think
they're on the street.
I don't even think that she's showing nipples though.
No, she is.
Look, no, she doesn't have nipples.
How can she?
She's got like a G.I. Joe chest. Like.
Oh God. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
No, there's got to be nipples there somewhere. They would have taken off the nipples.
What?
Brian, let's get back into go from the visceral horror back to the existential horror. What is she trying to say to women?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
She's saying it to men.
She's saying to men.
She's saying it to women, to men. She's not saying it to women.
Let me explain.
She's saying I'm better than you.
She's telling men that she is a better man than men.
I'm not a man, but I'm a better man than men.
Even though I'm not a man. So
Yeah.
So I have to ask, like, are we at the stage now, first of all, where if you go through a transition, you can choose to identify as the sex you were originally despite transitioning, which is what this person is doing, right? And are they transitioning just to own the men? Like, is this woman, did she just transition so that she can say that she can be a better man than most men just to own them? That's kind of an expensive flex, I'm just saying. Like, because that's what I'm getting from that.
So
Like,
now
is
we
that-
have
Bought a
political
dog
trans
like
men.
she could have just bought a dog like my dog Borat, who's like got a dick and balls like a quarter the size of his tiny little body.
And then
Yeah.
done what?
And he's all muscular and stuff. So like we strut around the neighborhood. and he's like, yeah, I'm the shit. And and the coyotes are like, ooh, tasty.
Yeah, I go around the neighborhood with Scipio.
Yeah,
A couple
well.
days ago, a woman ran away. She was like, "Oh, big dog."
Oh, you didn't whack his nuggets off, did you?
No, he still
Good.
has them. He's
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a working line herding and guarding dog. So he's like a high performance sports car. You just tap the gas and it goes like crazy. So it's been interesting to try to get him to. Is that the entirety of her message? Is just I exist to flex on men?
Yeah, I did all
so.
this work because I want to tell men. Well, I mean, that's what it seems like. That if I decided to identify as a man, I would be better than men at it. And I'm just like,
okay, well, she does
weird
have
flex,
really
but
nice,
okay, like, you know, like
she does have really good muscle tone. And
I guess.
got the nice, or maybe this is like a biological male.
No. Started off as a woman,
Okay.
did the transition,
Okay.
became as much like a man as she could. She's still
flex on men.
small, like she's a tiny person, nonetheless.
Yeah. No,
And
but
then
she's like she's more ripped than Shushanova. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, but by the way, even though I did all this, I'm actually still a woman. But if I wanted to be a man, I'd be a better man than men because I listen and respect women's. Which is really all this comes down to is like, I respect women, therefore I'm a better man. So
Yeah, it's basically the same. It's today's version of chest beating in order to be the alpha male.
Yeah, like getting a transition, like as a woman, full on getting your tits cut off, and then telling people
I could
that
just
you're
see the
still a
respect
woman.
women. Instead of like a pole toss in order to the respect women competition, so that they'll do a running of the women. And if you get pinned down and stabbed by a woman, but you say, I still respect you, you win or something.
Yeah.
If the women gore you, you're
That would
like
be
the
so
biggest,
fun to
strongest,
watch.
most stoicest man ever.
Yeah,
I
no,
still respect you as you gore out my liver.
I'd love
I
to
love
see
the
a bunch
woman.
of I'd love to see a bunch of Scandinavian women take on Magnus for Magnuson.
In the respect women trials.
Yeah, where they try and like stab him and shit, and then he just like sits on them and squashes them.
Yeah, well, I mean, no. The thing is that you have to
Or like
allow
hugs
the women
them and breaks their backs against his barrel chest, or
no, but you
headbutts
have
them,
to.
or
It's the respect women trials, so you have to allow the women to do whatever they want to.
throw a giant barrel at them, or
No matter how much you self-mutilate, as long as you respect women, then you're doing it better than all men, because men generally don't.
Like, no, my idea sounds fun. Your idea sounds stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
Because it is intended to be.
I know.
Be an example of this stupidity.
Okay, Scandinavian women, Magnus Vermagnuson,
or the feminist version, which is
in a little swimming pool full of Jello.
Or the feminist version, which is the running of the women, in which men have to submit to whatever the women do to them, and at the end, stabbed, gored, punched, kicked in the face, the men say, "But I respect you."
Okay, you're just borrowing that from Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, when the naked bare-chested ladies chase that dude off a cliff, and he yells, "I respect
that's
you,"
too much pleasure.
as he falls.
Yeah, I respect how stoic I am. I can endure anything the women do to me and still respect them. Ugh, it's infuriating. But anyway, that's
Anyway,
in this case, I find this transgender guy or girl,
Whatever it is.
girl.
How can you say they're trans if they didn't transition?
Okay, so this breastless woman,
this female who identifies as a woman.
No, I think what this female is doing is she's identifying with a man's body.
Yeah.
Like taking over the last space that's been left to men, Karen, which is their own bodies.
I don't mind. Like, I would love to have that six-pack. I would love to have those arms and those shoulders. I would
not love to have that mind.
Yeah, no, but I would not cut off my boobs. There are nipples there. I'm definitely not seeing things.
I don't see them.
And
I don't see them either.
Oh,
she looks like an action figure.
You gotta blow it up.
No, we don't want to be demonetized. In fact, maybe we should get away from this before YouTube hits us for nudity. Because they'll hit us for nudity, not.
I mean, they will say, well, she did identify as a woman, therefore those are titties.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll go to this other gentleman.
As far as I can tell, I didn't see any female nipples.
I didn't see anything
at all. Let's not confirm that issue.
Maybe I'm hallucinating. I don't know. I'm on a lot of Benadryl.
Yeah, you're hallucinating. You're on Benadryl.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing. Okay, let's.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that last thing about this, and this is actually kind of interesting because, we've had trans men and trans women for forever, right? I don't know how far back it goes, but the thing is that complaints about trans people that come from anybody, normies, the conservatives, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's almost 100% directed at trans women because they started as men. And I think that's the reason for it. I think that it has more to do with their history as men than their presentation as women and the way that women treat that. Because men, if they share a bathroom with a trans man, they don't care about that. They don't care about trans men in their spaces. They don't care what trans men do, as long as they're not trying to make, their lives a living hell or something. But then that's a personality problem, right? And I've known trans men, and from like school and work and stuff. And again, I just don't care. It's like they're basically just lesbians to me, so I feel the same way about them.
There was that one trans man, Brandon Tina, who was so unique in the fact that he was murdered by a bunch of transphobes that they made a movie about it, right? Because it's like it's just very rare.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Extremely rare. Like you don't see Brandon Tinas everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the only one, really.
Yeah. Maybe not the only one, but certainly.
Well, let's put it this way.
Notable. It was notable. It was like very strange.
Every Brandon Tina, there are probably thousands of trans women who are murdered.
Well,
and nobody pays the same attention to it.
Yeah, well, and nobody wants to get into how that goes down, which tends to be the surprise at the end of the crying game,
Yeah.
But with a man who wasn't expecting that and wasn't as accepting and tolerant as what's his name with the strabismus.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And they don't want to get into the demographic qualities of the men who are most likely to react in a bad way.
Okay, so let us. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. I know where you're going with that. There's some serious minority on minority crime issues with looking at that. All right, let's take a look at. By the way, guys,
let's take a look at this
maybe
video.
I should do. I do have a thank you to give.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Yes, one thank you.
Is it somebody who's giving me money so I can buy more Benadryl?
Well, Craig C gives us $25, so thank you, Craig C.
Thank you, Craig.
Very appreciated. Please, guys, if you would just take the time to go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out to make sure that we're able to continue to do these shows. I think that at this point we are the only ones who talk about this stuff in the way that we do. I don't think anyone else does.
No.
Certainly not making the connection between feminism and trans issues, which I think conservatives are genetically incapable of making. Once you start talking about how gender is a construct, the end game of all of that is what we're seeing now. And once you start taking away men's spaces to give them to women based on the idea that gender is a construct, and then once you start embracing all of this nasty condemnation of men's identity based on the idea that gender is a construct, but somehow men have always constructed society to benefit themselves at the expense of women, you see this general destruction in the relationship between men and women's identities, and all of that. So please, if you want to make sure that our very unique messages continues to be able to be talked about, go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out. And I will do some arm twisting at the half hour. So,
all
shall
right.
we begin?
Yep, let's do it.
Do transgender men have male privilege? Yes. All right, cool. That's it. Video over. Bye. Peace.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I know, right?
God.
We're done here, guys.
Always back.
All right.
Good night.
Okay. Alison will log back on in half an hour to do the arm twisting.
It's over. No.
No, it's not.
Sadly, there's more. It's not
No,
over.
it's not. Of course, the actual answer is more nuanced than that. It's yes.
Oh,
and,
nuance!
like improv.
Don't you just love that word? It's their word for lying.
Yeah, it's time for some nuance. Everybody, brace yourselves for nuance.
Lying. I just wanted to point out, because this occurred to me between watching the movie. It finally percolated what Brian was telling me. When this individual says transgender men have male privilege because they, when they transition and they start being perceived as a man, they gain privilege. But he also implies by that transgender women have privilege prior to being seen as women.
Yes.
So both transgender men and transgender women benefit from male privilege, which means, according to the progressive stack, they're below cis women.
Yes.
100% below cis women, which means that transgender people need to shut up, check their privilege, and listen to cis women when they say that they should not be allowed in any cis female spaces, involved in any cis female activities, and be identified specifically as cis females. Because obviously, based on the progressive stack, cis women have, and standpoint theory, cis women have they have the ability to understand the entirety of the transgender experience. And we can tell you as transgender people how you experience your life, what you are allowed to ask for, and whether or not you can speak.
People who lack privilege, based on their physical characteristics, right? The people at the bottom of the totem pole, the socio-cultural totem pole, they have epistemic privilege, right? So they have the unique ability to know, to be all knowing and all seeing, and all of that, and they know. This is why feminist women understand men's lives and experiences and thoughts and feelings better than even men do themselves. It's because they have epistemic privilege.
But women are always at the top. Cis women are always at the top because well, they don't have to be straight, but because every other vector of privilege and oppression is modified by whether or not the oppressors are male. So if the, if that group, so if you're a white male, you're an oppressor. If you're a white female, you're also an oppressor, but not as much as the white male because you're female. And that also applies to trans people. It applies to every group, basically. And it's always women at the top. Like, that's where it starts. And that's the thing that everyone misses, because they seem to think, like, I watch Matt Walsh at least when he was on YouTube. He puts up segments now, and he was talking about what happened to Don Lemon. And when I learned about Don Lemon, I said to my wife, Lindsay, look, see, this is what I've been talking about. It doesn't matter if you're black, and it doesn't matter if you're gay, and you can be both of those things, which is what Don Lemon was. He is black and gay, but if a woman is mad at you, that's it. That's where the buck stops. Every time. It doesn't matter if you're trans. It doesn't matter, because trans people both have male privilege. But women, they don't. So, it's and that's the thing. That's why what people miss, like he was saying, well, I thought that, if you're trans, that puts you at the top. And it's like, no, women are at the top. It's set up that way on purpose. Now, of course, people that are part of different, groups that are progressives, they're going to try to figure out how to nuance their way to the top of that victim hierarchy, but they'll never beat women. Biological women. They'll never beat them.
So no matter what happens to black men, black women always have it worse because they're women, and because they have it worse because they're women, white women also have it worse in some undefinable way, and thus the victimhood resources always end up in the category woman. And the funny thing is this trans man, as he goes through arguing that trans men have male privilege, is also basically arguing that trans women have male privilege, and therefore both trans men and women are below women in the progressive stack. And that's why, conservatives are baffled. Why are women doing this? Why are they letting these trans people into their space? Because they get the victimhood resource.
Yeah, and it started
because it gives them access to money and control.
Yeah.
And manipulation.
And women, they started this. So anyway, okay, let's keep going, because I want to she does this. Okay, I don't want to say she. This trans man does try to separate themselves from actual cis men with this story. So let's go into it.
As Jessie Gender established in her video.
According to Debbie and John Phillips, male privilege is, quote, a special status conferred on males in societies where male supremacy is the central social organizing feature.
Beautiful citations. They're happening.
Oh, no, there's what citations are. Oh, you mean you're citing the person who said it?
Yeah, another YouTuber said this thing, so that's a citation.
No, that's not a citation. I know you guys, you know what? This is so unscientific.
Well, honestly, though, if they actually had citations, they'd probably be bullshit anyways. Because, all of feminist academia is bullshit.
Yeah. But it's like they don't make any effort to even prove this. And this conjecture about reality has never been subject to any kind of scientific rigor. Ever. Mm-hmm. Karen, did you want to say anything to this?
I was just going to say, not a lot about trans people has ever been subjected to
scientific rigor?
Unbiased and rigorous scientific scrutiny.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, but that's right on the heels of feminism.
Oh, yeah, no, feminists dreamed this up. This is why I tell people, if I were to sit down in an airport with Megan Murphy again, like I did in, Boston Airport, Boston, Massachusetts, I believe. No, wait, it might have been, I think it was Boston. But if I were to be sitting at a gate bar, right, at the airport with Megan Murphy again, drinking a glass of wine and shooting the shit, okay, I would tell her, you guys started all of this. Like,
Yep.
you're just like, ooh, a box. It says Pandora on it. Ooh, open it up. See what's in it. And then you're like, oh, now we don't want all this.
Karen does a really good Marge. Did you know that, Karen? You do a good Marge Simpson.
Well, thank you very much.
I just think they're neat.
Oh, God. It's like, honestly, they were the ones who opened this door, right? Where there's really no biological difference. There's no biological reason why a man can't do what women do and a woman can't do what men do. And, evolution stops at the neck, and the mind and the body are completely separate things, right? And so if you're a woman and you want to do man things, then that's like totally fine, which it is. Okay? But they're the ones who opened up this whole idea that sex is like, they used these same freaking TERF feminists, right? Trans exclusionary radical feminists, right? Before there was such a thing as TERFs. Right? They used to call me a biological essentialist because I talked about evolutionary psychology.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God, you're a biological essentialist. You're a gender essentialist. Don't you know that gender is malleable and it's like on a spectrum? Yeah, I'm a fucking tomboy, you retard. Okay? I've lived my entire life with short hair and comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
I understand that you don't have to be a girly girl to be a woman. Like my favorite tool of the year. Okay, because I buy tools. Right, my favorite tool of the year is like a freaking Ryobi 1, 18-volt cordless drain snake. If you don't have one, you're a fool. Okay, but. But yeah, no, it's like,
I like my power drill.
My husband's not allowed to touch it, by the way, but because he'll break the pipes probably. But anyway, like what I'm saying is, they're the ones who decided in the era of John Money that everything was malleable and gender was a social construct, and if you raised boys as if they were girls and girls as if they were boys, then everybody would turn out to be completely androgynous, and nobody would be male or female. Nobody would be a man or a woman. We'd all just be, from the neck up, we would all be exactly the same. They're the ones who opened that door. They're the ones who broke down that gate, and then all of the shit came pouring through. And now they're like, oh no, what happened?
Yeah.
No, you happened, you stupid people.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a social contagion. I mean, obviously there are people who legitimately, have gender dysphoria, probably, but I think that this like sudden explosion, of trans people.
We in Canada, we had to have guidance come down from the Canadian Medical Association to family doctors how to deal with trans youth.
Yeah.
Because the number of trans-identified youth between 2007 and 2017 increased tenfold. They don't have enough gender clinics.
Yep.
They don't have enough psychologists. So they had to give family doctors advice on what to do. What was their advice? Affirm, reinforce, medicate, fast track.
Yep.
That's their advice, and you're not to question. You're not to say sleep on it. You're not to say, well, why don't we see how things work out in a couple months, right? Let's give it time, right? Let's take a wait and see approach, right? You're not, you should treat it as an aggressive malignant tumor and intervene immediately in the direction of affirmation of the child's stated declared identity.
Yep.
And absolutely insane. Oh my Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? It's gonna be it's gonna get dark in like 10 years. So, all right, let's play some more.
Great. So, systemically, men have certain advantages that women do not. Scholar Peggy McIntosh described these advantages as an invisible, weightless knapsack.
Peggy McIntosh, Karen, do you know who that is?
The invisible knapsack. The invisible knapsack.
Yeah.
It's invisible. And then so I was like, I went through that and I went on a feminist forum and I was like, well, here's a bunch of female privilege things, right? Checklist, right? And this feminist comes back and says, well, I've never noticed that I experience any of those things. And I'm like, it's called an invisible knapsack because the person who receives the privilege doesn't see it.
Yeah.
And you know what's really funny is that
but trust us, it's there.
Women's privileges, you can see them black and white in the statistics and the laws and the social attitudes.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not invisible.
Paper.
This is, women's privileges is not an invisible, weightless knapsack.
Well, and then on top of that, right? One of the privileges in this, the male privilege checklist based on the invisible knapsack, right, is, if you have to deal with a manager at a store, if you're a Karen, by the way, if you have to deal with a manager at a store, as a male, you're much more likely to be able to deal with a male manager. And that's a privilege. And it's like, yeah, if you're a woman, retard, if you're a woman, it's a privilege. No, but it's not even true anymore. But back when this was written, it was. And if you were a woman and it was a male manager, you'd probably get your way. If you were a man and it was a male manager, you'd probably get thrown out of the store.
Yeah. And it's not even true anymore. Like, they don't even update this shit. Like, this most middle management in the US is now female.
Yeah, no, upper management is mostly men, but that's because women...
Yeah, but the other thing is that women basically run human resources, which kind of decides who stays and who goes.
Yeah, but also, and I don't blame them for this, but because I've been offered management positions more than once, and I've always said, I haven't said no thanks. I've been like, are you fucking out of your mind? Get the fuck out of here and leave, please, and never ask me again. So, yeah.
All right, shall we continue? Let's do it.
Special provisions, assurances, tools, maps, guides, code books, passports, visas, clothes, compass, emergency gear, and blank checks. She wrote that in the context of white privilege.
Go back to that picture.
All right. Hold on. Let me just...
And blank checks.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got a backpack with parachutes. Assurances, like I don't know, you marry a guy and then when he dies you get all his money and some life insurance. Okay, you got tools. Oh yeah, I got tools. My husband's not allowed to touch them. You got a map. It's not my fault nobody taught
wait let's go back to tools. Let's go back to tools for a second. Like literal tools, because anybody with money can buy those. So I don't know, like...
Yeah, no, but we're talking about,
here's the thing, like, they're saying it's invisible, therefore you can't actually see this stuff, and yet they're saying that it provides all of these things.
Uh-huh.
What the hell is men's safety?
Okay,
safety?
I think what they mean by tools is skills, like work skills, or
training,
handyman skills, or, the ability to change a tire, or the ability to look on YouTube and figure out how to boost your car, or we use booster cables. The map, I guess women don't have guidance counselors in high school. Young women take different courses than men do.
Okay, here's a good question. Who's giving men these things? Are you saying that men's socialization with each other is affording them this? Because everything is a social construct, right? So it must be men giving each other these tools. Okay.
Well, tools.
Really?
Tools are just. Anybody can learn.
Yeah.
To do anything.
Exactly.
What I'm getting at is that. So. Is that like where are men getting these tools to each other?
Okay. Map. This means you. I'm guessing they're talking about like a life plan, right? Because it's not my fault women aren't good at reading maps, right? But a life plan. Okay. Well, women have a life plan too. And then guides. Mentors. Women don't have mentors. No woman has ever had a mentor.
Right. Like what is education if not like mostly women?
Okay, here's the thing. None of this is proven to exist. None of it.
No.
They call it invisible and weightless because they can't prove it. It's like feminist dark matter. You know, they just put it into they just put it into the equations and they're just like, yeah, we got the results, but you never do. Feminist conjecture never actually has any predictive value. So all of this is just bullshit. It's just 100% bullshit. They can't prove that this stuff exists at all. Okay, parachutes. Well, how do men have a parachute in a society where everyone would prefer to protect and provide for women? Okay, how do men have maps when everyone in society prefers to mentor women? How do they have passports when only women are allowed to go places that are just for women? How do they have compasses when nobody is guiding? Like they have no mentors apparently, except for Andrew Tate, but they have a compass. But what does compass represent? Mentors? But I thought all they had is Andrew Tate, and Andrew Tate isn't a mentor. Okay, approved. What's approved? Where do men get
approval? I think is what they're saying. Like men are more likely to get approval than women, which is ridiculous.
How? What? That's freaking ridiculous. And then I guess
and
that's
blank checks. I guess I didn't know this. I just have unlimited money now. I didn't know. I should have checked in my invisible, translucent, ethereal knapsack and just pulled out a blank check.
What is this thing with the numbers now?
I don't know what that is. Let me go back a little bit and replay that clip.
Well, no, it just
visas. What is that?
What is that in like Cyrillic?
Code books.
Oh,
that's a code book.
Oh, okay. So I guess now every man is given an enigma engine to decode society.
Yeah.
But women know more. Even though men get the book to decode all of society, women still have the epistemological privilege. Jesus Christ.
Code books.
This is so stupid.
I remember making up like code when I was a little kid and sharing it with my male friends. That must be what she's talking about.
This is so stupid. And again, none of this is proven. Like 100%, guys, none of this has been subject to any kind of scientific rigor. So we're just listening to the fantasies of mostly women who are 100% obsessed with being victims of shit and inventing victimhoods. That's it. I mean, to be a feminist scholar, all you have to do is to be on the cutting edge of feminist scientific scholarship. All you have to do is invent how you as a woman are a victim of drywall.
Yep.
Karen, how are you as a woman
she dropped out.
Victim of drywall?
Oh, she's back.
Yeah, she's back.
Okay. I was a little worried.
Can you do it, Karen? How are you a victim of drywall? Be on the bleeding edge of feminist scholarship. I think Karen is having an issue with her sound. Anyway, so all you have to do to be on the bleeding edge of feminist scholarship, and nobody's going to challenge you. They're going to just pat you on the back and give you high fives. You've encountered a new victimhood resource. This isn't about science. Literally, feminism is more about finding deposits of victimhood. And once they find a deposit of victimhood, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it's real, just as long as they can fake it out, fake people with it. That's it.
Yep. They're like dwarves. They dig too greedily and too deep. And they have awakened something far older.
Far older.
In the
Reality.
deep places of the world. So
Finally, reality has taken note.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what's happened is they're just digging their own butts now.
Yeah, that's... Well, where do you think they got all this theory from? All right.
Karen, how are you doing there? Are you able to speak?
Yeah, Karen, are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Okay, I had to restart my computer. I tried to open Discord to full screen, and then everything died, and now my computer is burning my knees.
Oh no!
Well, today we learned. Oh no! Today we learned that men have Cyrillic alphabet ciphers.
I thought maybe we learned that I shouldn't open Discord in full screen so that
Apparently
I can
not.
see the little icons. So I can see the little icons that the feminists want us to believe men have.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because I was like,
Men have
what's
all
that?
the icons.
I was like, what's that document there down at the bottom?
Yeah.
So I put it on full screen, and then all of a sudden it's like Alison went all robotic, and then everything was quiet, and then my knees started burning, and it was like,
whoa,
oh no, my computer's about to catch on fire. So and then I tried shutting down, I tried restarting, but it just died before it finished the restart sequence.
Oh, well, there won't be a need to zoom in anymore. We're moving on from this point, but the thing you were asking about is it's supposed to be like a decoder. So
okay,
because men they have access to codes, I guess.
Yeah. So my husband has access to a whole bunch of codes, and I wish he'd stop talking about them.
Oh no!
Well, that sounds like male privilege to me.
Karen,
Python
it's just basically a
and
Cyrillic cipher.
No, C+ and Python and C# and what's Linux and platforms, and I don't even know the difference between a platform and a coding language, right? But I do know sed and awk are very difficult because he tells me that all the time. So yeah, no, and I just I have access. I have all the access I want to code, and
I don't think they mean that because your husband learned that stuff.
Yeah, and I don't
Allegedly,
want to, and he acts as if it's important that I learn it too, even though my life would not be altered in any way if he just if he died and all his knowledge of code died with him, because life insurance stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I'm like, okay, do you know how to feed yourself? And he's like, no, that's your job.
Okay,
right.
let's keep going.
Alison, I mean, Karen, now that
sometimes he forgets what foods he's allergic to.
Oh wow. It's basically everything except chicken breast.
Yeah.
No, he can't have chicken.
Oh, it's steak then. It's steak.
Okay,
right?
let's not.
All right. Let's get back on track. So, we're gonna play more, but Karen, are you in the? Are you able to watch? Are you in the stream?
I'm in the stream, but you guys are breaking up again, and my computer's getting hot again. So I don't know. I don't know
might drop out.
Put it on some ice.
Yeah.
Let's play some more.
This emergency gear and blank checks. She wrote that in the context of white privilege and applied the same concept to male privilege. Men may not realize they carry it with them.
Because that's so scientific. It's just transitive. You just apply it to anything.
That's the purpose of intersectionality.
Okay,
well,
you realize that they just described the fact that it has no evidence. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
Okay, yes, of course they did. And they took something white privilege, which is actually I mean, it's contextual. I would call it ethnic privilege or racial privilege or dominant culture
Majority
privilege or whatever, right? Okay. They took that and they applied it to men and women. Well, okay, so when has there ever been a point in history where there was like a group of only women, like an entire country of only women, and an entire country of only men, and then the men went and colonized the women's country, and they took the women as slaves, and then they just decided that they were gonna like lord it over all these women. Yeah, never happened. They're two totally different. Sexism and racism slash classism slash ethnocentrism, all of those things, right? Completely different from sexism. Sexism is based on actual important biological stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the color of your skin, not even how many quick twitch muscles you might have as a black man compared to a white man, right? Not even about IQ, nothing, right? You know, variations in IQ, or this race can see better at night than this race. Yeah, no, okay. Those are things that are like everybody's able to do them,
Wrong.
and some might be better or worse than others on average, right? When you're talking about men and women, it's a completely different freaking story, right? Do black people only have vaginas and white people only have penises? No. Do all black people carry babies and all white people inseminate black people? No. Completely different things. Sex existed like sex where there is a male and a female of a species that have different biological roles and different social roles. That existed before humans existed. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? It's a completely different psychological and biological and even evolutionary phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing is that if you look at any situation that feminists present as disenfranchisement of women in the past, you will see that when you look at the male situation, it wasn't disenfranchisement. It was a separation of obligations and responsibilities. So, for example, they will talk about like this. Women weren't able to have credit cards until the 1960s. And I asked them, well, when were men not responsible for women's debts?
1974. 1974.
Okay, so women weren't able to have a credit card unless they had a man who was willing to underwrite their debt, and the financial institution knew who that was, because legally they couldn't hold the woman responsible. Do you understand that? So it was, and if you look at that only, say, oh, well, women weren't allowed to have credit cards. First of all, credit cards were a very new thing. But second of all,
but credit itself wasn't new.
Credit itself wasn't new.
Yeah, no, and here's the thing, right? Married women weren't allowed to get loans or purchase items on credit, because what you would do is you would go into a store and you would say, send the bill to my house, here's my address or whatever, right? And what married women would do is they had the legal entitlement to go to a store, this is before credit cards, go to a store and buy all the necessaries that they wanted. And we're talking about necessaries. We're not talking about diamond rings and things like that. We're talking about food and clothing and maybe lodgings. They would go to a hotel, buy lodgings, right? All of those things. They could buy that on their husband's credit legally. He'd have to actually go to because it wasn't enough to put an ad in the paper saying, I'm not responsible for my wife's debts from this point forward. No, the courts didn't see that as sufficient. He had to go to every single business owner in the area that he thought she had access to and personally notify them in writing not to sell anything to his wife on his credit if she was overspending. That was how that worked, right? She couldn't necessarily buy a house or a herd of cattle, but she could certainly buy everything she needed to survive on his credit, unless he went to all of that trouble to go to every single merchant and procurement place and lodging house and everything in the area and said, I'm not paying for what my wife might want to buy from you, because
And I'm guessing he couldn't do that if
me.
She couldn't do that if she wasn't bankrupting him. So she couldn't do it if it was genuinely.
Oh no, she could take him to a court of equity or a common law court, and the judge would, if he was just like refusing to spend any money on her and had tons of money, the court would say, yeah, no, guy, you're crazy. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like,
you're not. You can't stop her. You can't. And probably if he had tons of money, she would be buying the diamond rings and the cattle herds. But
oh man, and here's the thing too. There were a lot of divorces or legal separations, because usually divorce was out of the picture for most people because it required an act of parliament. Even in Canada early on, required an act of parliament. But legal separation, a lot of women would just go around like spending their husbands into bankruptcy, racking up debts, right, in order to strong arm him into like a juicier alimony settlement.
All right, so we're giving you some perspective on that whole women couldn't
take out loans, get a credit
couldn't
card.
Take out loans. They didn't have rights over their own income. Yeah, but on the other hand, when you look at the situation for men, it doesn't look the same. And I can tell you, slaves didn't get the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, no.
They weren't running over to Macy's to buy a new frock.
Yeah, no.
Like they weren't. No. A slave owner wasn't responsible for his, a slave walking into a store and getting debts in his name. All right, stop with the chattel bullshit. Stop with the literally property bullshit. Okay, if your car goes into a drugstore and buys $300 worth of bonbons, you're not obligated to pay your car's debt back.
Or
women
your dog.
Were not men's property. Women were not men's property. Period. Full stop. End of sentence. If you so much as ejaculate that bullshit, you are full of it. Okay? So, and the point is that when you bring in men's situation, the whole thing changes, doesn't it? And that's all they ever do, is they just exclude men. They're like, yeah, women couldn't get credit in their name. And everybody's like, oh, that's horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, no, and
nobody asked, well, what was happening to men?
It wasn't that women couldn't get credit in their name. Married women could not, because the husband would be saddled with the debt. So of course the lender would want to ensure that he approved of this, since he was the payer of the debt, right? And so they wanted to. You can't legally sign someone up for a debt based on for a debt that's not authorized by law. So purchasing a house or a speedboat or like a brand new car or something like that. No, they would want his approval to do that. But a single woman or a widow could indeed get a loan, but lenders were awfully careful and they were allowed to discriminate. And the reason why is because a single woman or a widow could get married, and then who's responsible for the debt? Oh, the new husband. And it doesn't matter that the debt was accrued while she wasn't married to him. It's now still his debt, right? Mm-hmm. And the bank didn't even get a chance to know who he was before she did that, right? So it's like they couldn't even. So you act as a woman, and widows had a better time of this, I'm sure, than single women did, like unmarried, never married women. But widows, if they had a history of spending within the family's means and being responsible with their husband's credit and all of that stuff, and then their husband died, right? They probably had a lot more lenders saying, you know what, you've shown that you're a responsible person and you can handle the credit and we'll give you a loan, right? But for unmarried women who'd never been married, particularly young women, they were allowed to say no, and they most often did. It's a bad risk.
Yeah.
If you could just like attach yourself, you could take out a imagine taking out a $300,000 mortgage, and you're the sole title holder of the house that you bought, and then and you owe the bank $300,000 plus interest, and then you just decide you're going to marry some wastrel and saddle him with the debt, and the bank's never going to be able to get the debt out of him, but you've just absolved yourself. You own a house and you have no responsibility. Oh, and the bank can't take it because you have dower rights to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really starting to shape up, though, when you actually look at these things. Once again, society seems to be arranged to make sure women are protected and provided for.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Wow.
Just a little bit. This almost seems like an eternal sort of thing that happens.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that results in women being restricted in some ways. Oh no.
Yeah.
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 Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, I got a couple super chows I'm going to read out really quick.
Oh, right,
So,
yeah. I should do some thank yous.
Appreciate that, guys. I am also looking at Rumble in case somebody puts through something there. Amasang gives us $5 and says, completely unrelated to everything, but my local deli is selling candy cigarettes. I didn't think anyone still made those. Haven't seen any in a good 3 decades. Well, I just want to say there's 2 types of candy cigarettes. There's the ones that you can just chew. They're kind of like chalky and gross. And then there's these other ones which are also gross, but they have like paper wrapped around it, and you could actually blow smoke, but it's not smoke. It's like, the dry sugar.
Candy powder.
Yeah, it's
Candy
the
powder.
But it looks like you're smoking. And you can get those. There are some like vintage candy shops that exist. I know there was one in Chicago where you can get all kinds of old candy. If you're feeling nostalgic. So they totally still make it, obviously.
We still had candies. The first type of candy cigarettes you mentioned here, like maybe
they're like the thin ones with the red tip.
20, yeah, like just white
Virginia
stick,
Slims.
chalky plastic. No, they weren't called Virginia Slims.
No, they have made up names.
Yeah, no, but they used to be Popeye candy cigarettes. Okay. But for Popeye the Sailor Man.
Yeah.
But then they started calling them candy sticks, and then I think they just stopped making them because
Popeye's basically banned from like all mainstream media because he was a man that solved problems with his fists. So
he
was a tough guy. That's not allowed. And the cigarette candies too, because there was a concern that people were going to grow up and want to smoke real cigarettes.
Yeah, so. No. If actually, I think that they should force candy cigarettes on children because they're so gross. That no child would want to smoke if they thought that that's what smoking was like.
Yeah. They'd be in for a rude awakening.
Oh God, they are like they're not even chalky. They manage to be chalky and slimy at the same time. Like, all right, so that's the only thing worse than that is like something that comes out of when they don't eat enough pineapple.
I was gonna say if it's chalky, you need to see a doctor. Like urologist or something.
Well, no, but slimy part I'm talking.
Okay, the slimy part. Okay. All right, so the other super chow is from Great Indoors, who gives us $50. Thank you so much.
All right, then keep your secrets.
And he says
that'll buy a lot of candy cigarettes.
That's a lot of cigarettes, yeah. Candy cigarettes. That's not a lot of regular cigarettes. But And he says, Karen, I just want to remind you of that interview you did some time ago, which also featured Posey Parker, or Kelly Jean Key, I think is her other name. I loved your eye rolls as she was spouting her gynocentric spiel. I do wonder what you make of her appearance in Australia that was so heavily protested. I've heard one commenter calling it pure misogyny, even though there were a lot of left-leaning women there screeching at her.
Screething. I prefer you.
I don't know what screething is. I'm just gonna assume
screeching and seething. Screeching and seething.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
Screething.
That would be screething. Yes. No, I think a lot of these like sort of second wave feminists, right? Like, or what people are calling TERFs, right? Like J.K. Rowling and Megan Murphy and Posey Parker and, you know, others.
There's a couple.
Right?
There's that woman that calls herself the reactionary feminist. She wrote that book, like something about the sexual revolution, destroying women.
Julie Bindel, and you know, like there's all young and old, like sort of new generation. Megan Murphy, Posey Parker, right? Yeah. And those, and then, you know, and J.K. Rowling, and then there's like the old guard like Julie Bindel and Sheila Jeffries and Catherine McKinnon and those types, right? But they're all up in arms about these tactics, right? You know, sort of deplatforming.
I know,
mobs of people who are like, yeah, I know, and it's like Terry Brennan on Twitter. Every time he sees one of these women one of these feminists complaining about this stuff, right? He's just like, oh well, sauce for the goose, right? You know, and it's just like, well, you're the one who set the precedent that these tactics were acceptable. Right? Like your movement did this to us.
Yep.
Right? And while I may agree with your position in terms of you should have the right to speak and be heard by people who want to hear you. And also, I definitely agree with certain things that they discuss in terms of the, you know, the trans issues and stuff like that.
Biological reality.
Yeah, biological realities. I definitely agree with some of those things. Not everything, but some of them. That doesn't excuse them or forgive them for like. I'm still gonna feel a little pang of Schadenfreude when I see them getting freaking mobbed and shouted down.
You know that these what they're calling TERFs now. They're actually starting a fifth wave of feminism. Do you know what the fifth wave of feminism is? The fifth wave of feminism is women are women.
Yeah, biological essentialist feminism.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be about reclaiming womanhood, and it's okay to be a mother now, you know.
And don't call me a birthing person either.
Yeah, like Anna Kasparian, who got again. You struck the monster with lightning, and now it's up and around, and you created it, and you're upset. But yeah, I'm with you, Karen.
You got it, Toyota.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, you know, Goodfella, who doesn't make videos very often, but he made one about this, and he said exactly what I was thinking. Like, you know, I am not siding with TERFs or fifth wave feminists against fourth wave intersectional feminists, because all of them hate me. So it's like, no,
there you go.
You guys figure that out, you know. So
I just agree with who I agree with.
Yeah,
I on the things that I agree with them on.
Sure.
And you know, and like the same goes for everybody. And then I just agree that everybody should be allowed to speak and be heard by the people who want to hear them. That's always been my position. So.
That sounds frighteningly reasonable.
I know.
Allison, do you have any
I'm a radical.
Yeah.
So Allison? I'm in an argument on Twitter because there's
why would you
splitting hairs? No, splitting hairs about selective service in the vote. And saying that selective service isn't tied to the vote. Well, first of all, the point is that men getting in the vote in the past was tied to.
Well, actually, men
Service and
can't
wartime.
vote if they didn't register today.
Well, yeah, the other thing is that well, specifically what it is that when men get an ID in order to vote, they get put either on the Selective Service Registry without their knowledge, or they get put on a list to be sent a letter to be threatened with a fine, a $250,000 fine or jail time if they don't register with the Selective Service.
If you register to vote, you are automatically enrolled.
No, but
As a
the
man.
Selective Service says that that's not true. If you register to vote, you're not automatically enrolled.
Ask them to tell you of any men
depends
that are
on what
over the
state
age of
you're in.
18 that are not registered with Selective Service and can vote and are not in prison.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, like they've done this thing now because they, like this is why they don't have posters up on campuses and stuff like that, or at high schools, when you're 18, you have to register, blah, blah, blah. They don't have those anymore because anytime you come into contact with the government now to get a driver's license, get an ID, register to vote, access social services, anything like that from the time that you turn 18, it will automatically register you to vote. Just like doing my taxes automatically registers me to vote.
Except in some states where it just gets you alerted to the system alerted to your existence, and they send a letter and say, well, if you don't register, you're going to get a $250,000 fine or go to jail.
Yeah, and be a felon, and then you lose your right to vote.
Yep.
So.
Anyway, let's continue.
But they do, and they rely on its contents to get through life. Cisgender men and transgender men have different relationships with their male privilege. While cis men spend their whole lives being perceived as male, trans men typically do not. We spend some portion of our lives being perceived as women, which...
All right, I'm just pausing it there for the... I mean, this is not a YouTube video. This is actually embedded in the website, advocate.com, so it might not be a problem, but I'm not taking any chances.
Impacts how we are socialized by our parents, our friends, our schools, our workplaces, by every person and institution we encounter. Trans men's access to male privilege depends on how we are perceived by society. And how we're perceived is not stagnant. It changes over time and in every interaction.
This is the pretzel nuance, the pretzeling of logic for the purposes of nuance, which is going to basically come out to cis men have privilege, trans men experience some privilege, but
our perception as male, if it ever comes, is bestowed upon us gradually. Slowly, we are greeted by more sirs than ma'ams and referred to with more he's than she's. It is, well, a transition after all. So for us, we notice when society starts treating us differently. For us, the knapsack is not invisible. When we are read as cis men, the floodgates open, and we surf a tsunami of privilege.
But not as much as regular men, because they are aware of the knapsack, which means that they are properly educated on their privilege, whereas men...
No, but they see the tsunami.
Yeah, they see the tsunami. And what a tsunami of privilege it is. By the way, trans men are not eligible for the draft.
Well, that's a privilege.
I mean, if it weren't for the fact that men are eligible, I would call it a privilege, but it's obviously not, because men don't have men have privilege, so they have the privilege of fighting in wars against their will. So, and trans men don't.
Some of the things we can experience include not having our appearance under constant scrutiny, not having to fight for space in conversations.
So, okay, so...
Yeah, neither do bull dykes.
Yeah, well, wait a minute.
I'm sorry, but bull dykes, I've never seen anyone be like, oh, just, can't you be more girly? No, bull dykes, it's not that they don't, it's not necessarily that they don't get scrutiny. It's just they don't fucking care.
Okay. What I said, Karen, maybe you can bounce off of that, is that men don't get scrutiny because men all wear a variation on the same prison smock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean the uniform?
Yeah, the uniform. The men are wearing a uniform. Even when they're not in a literal uniform, they are wearing a uniform. They don't get any commentary for the same reason as you don't comment on the uniforms that people wear, because you know what they're there for.
Well,
You know?
it's like I remember, I think it was somebody on CNBC or MSNBC, right? A male anchor on a group morning show. So he's a co-host with two women, and he decided he was going to wear the exact same outfit to work for like 100 days in a row or something like that. Okay, exact same suit, exact same shirt, exact same tie. He's going to wear that every day for 100 days, and nobody noticed. And he's like, "That's male privilege," and I'm like, okay, what if you'd shown up in a bright yellow suit one day?
Like the mask?
What if you?
Or a cranberry red suit?
Like Steve
Yeah,
Harvey?
like what? I wore the same suit. I wore the same uniform every day. You know, maybe Costco employees could do that. You know?
Yeah, I know.
And no one would notice. Like,
Mm.
how stupid do you have to be? Of course, no one noticed because your entire wardrobe is about not being noticed. Because men are not allowed to bring attention to themselves. And if you go back in the past, that wasn't the case. Go look at what Louis XIV wore.
Oh, that was something else again.
Yeah, go even.
And it wasn't very slimming either.
Go look at what men were even allowed to wear in the 80s. Crop top shirts, booty shorts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and not be seen as fags. Like, I remember rewatching Lost Boys, and there were some outfits that one of the male characters was in, and I was like, is that a freaking dress? And I know it wasn't, but that was the floral patterns and the things that he was wearing were acceptable for men to wear in the 80s. Just 40 years ago. Men have been losing more and more and more and more clothing options. They've been boxed in more and more and more. And you have the audacity to say that they are freer in their what they can wear? Are you fucking joking me?
Yeah, no, it's like, it's basically you either do the suit and tie, or you do the plaid and khakis. Maybe you do the chinos and a blazer. Or if you work like my son, he's like a manager at a big box retailer. You wear like a and he doesn't have a dress code. Like he doesn't have to, conform to a dress code. So he wears jeans and a t-shirt, a plain t-shirt. And other than, like, the only dress code he has is he can't have like logos or whatever, or like captions on his t-shirt. And then just like a short sleeve button-up shirt over top, maybe plaid, maybe checkered, maybe striped, whatever he feels like. Like he's allowed to wear that, and he gets away with having his hair long. But it's like he's got a Ragnar Lothbrok hairdo, so sides and back shaved, top long, but that's as far as he can go. And I mean, I guess he could get creative with his facial hair.
Okay, so men literally are in a situation where their clothing choices have to remain unobtrusive and unremarkable.
Yeah, unremarkable.
And this person is saying, "Oh, well, men." Yes, because men are literally in the process of probably, I don't know, maybe it's not worth it to them, or maybe they just know that if they do deviate, it's going to go a lot worse for them than it would for a woman. So they restrict their choices. They've restricted their choices to be unobtrusive and unremarkable. So don't turn around and say, well, men get away with wearing things because they've deliberately chosen to wear unremarkable things. Dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, you're the trans man. Aren't you supposed to know this?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no,
Alison, do you have any thank yous to give?
Try and find a particular...
Yes, I do have thank yous. I'm sorry. I'm really, like, I'm sort of feeling ill. My stomach hurts a lot.
Okay, well, we
so
can
I'm
go soon because I'm about to have another sneezing fit soon too.
All right.
Oh no, it's okay. We'll go till the when we said, but I will hold it together till then.
Okay.
So I'm just explaining why I'm so bitchy.
Okay, don't puke.
All right. It's not puke. It's just like feeling like I've been punched in the stomach.
Oh, okay. Have you
No
been punched in
nausea.
the stomach?
So there you go.
Do we need to call the
No,
cops?
I haven't been punched in the stomach. I don't know what happened. It
Dial
might be just having
911.
eaten some stupid thing that I am actually allergic to, and I did not notice because there's so much. All right, so thank you to Vesa, who gave us $250. Thank you, Vesa.
Wow.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you to Charles, who gave us $25. So thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.
Egregious Charles. Egregious always puts something
How
in the hat, so
egregious.
very much appreciate.
How egregious he
Well, he
donates
supports us,
to
so that
Honey
makes
Badger Radio.
he makes them very
Charles.
egregious. Yeah. All right, so if you would like to join them, please go to feedthebadger.com/support. I suppose I should do some arm twisting. I'm afraid this arm twisting might be a little bit fractured because my stomach hurts so much.
I'll fill in as I can, Allison, with my incoherent babble.
Yeah, you're going to be incoherently babbling, and I'm just going to be groaning. All right, so once again, I just want to point out that we talk about these things in a very unique way, a way that I think is really critically important to talk about, because everybody else is searching for how to blame men. And I don't know if people have noticed that I think we're getting to the end of the rope in terms of blaming men for stuff. Like literally what is happening with the trans community and feminism is a result of feminism's own advocacy, and they are trying to blame men. Men have
Not just
nothing
men, but
to do with it.
MRAs.
Yes, well, men and MRAs, they're supposedly synonymous somehow. Men have absolutely nothing to do with it. They have no way of fixing it, and yet they will be blamed. Therefore, this is a problem that's never going to be solved. You can add it to all the other problems that'll never be solved because we only ever blame men, including the problems that men themselves face that are becoming increasingly salient because the productivity of our society is declining. We have to face these issues. We are not going to have a future if we do not face these issues. You know, this stuff is depressing to look at, but somebody has got to look at it. Somebody has got to advocate for it, or we don't have a future. From what I can tell, because when you have a problem, when a society has a problem, it refuses to look at and refuses to face. Guess what the problem is that's going to destroy society? It's the problem it refuses to look at and refuses to face, obviously, because it remains a problem even when you refuse to look at it. It just becomes worse. Like Peterson says, it becomes the dragon that you refuse, that, I don't know, under the bed, that you've foisted away and just grows and grows and grows the more you ignore it and the more you feed it. So this, what we talk about, we need to keep it alive. We need to keep the conversation going because it is the conversation that needs to happen. It's a conversation no one wants to have for whatever reason, because it's embarrassing for men to admit they're vulnerable. It's painful for women to admit that they might be at fault for something. But until we do, we're not going to make any progress. We're going to be stuck, and things are going to get worse for us. Currency is going to get more useless. Our productivity, our society is going to decline more. We are going to lose what we have. We are already losing what we have because certain entities have realized that we're writing checks that our asses can't cash. And so they're rewriting the map because we're writing checks that our asses can't cash, and they know it.
Yeah.
Okay? We got to fix this. And the only people who are able to fix this are the people who are listening to this now. It's you. Because you are able to look at these issues. I mean, think about it. Think about the last time you spoke to somebody about this stuff. As soon as you finish talking, they would say something like, yeah, you're right. Oh, well, how's that weather lately? It just slides off their mind because they can't grip onto it. They can't deal with it. They're not able to because it runs counter to the very essence of their identity. We are able to contend with these issues. We're able to use them to predict things that other people can't even see. Because when you can see the problem, you can see where it's going. Like, how long ago did me and Karen and Brian say, well, if you start condemning masculinity and femininity, if you embrace this gender socialization, if you ignore biology, this is going to be a problem. Men and women are going to start rejecting their roles as men and women. Well, what do you think's happening now? Yeah. And the conservatives who are complaining about it, what do? Oh, men who want to be women, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can't possibly be women because women are oppressed. Even conservatives say that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so we're it. This is it. We're it. And when I say that, I mean, I think about it, I'm like, shit, that's really arrogant. But as far as I can tell, I go through the logic in my mind, and it comes down to that. This is a problem that needs to be solved. Nobody else seems to be able to look at it except us. So we need to make sure that we continue to talk about it, at the very least. Continue to keep it alive in our discussions. And if you would like to make sure that happens, then you have to go to feedthebadger.com/support and make sure that we can continue to talk about this. Because believe me, when you talk about this, like it's almost like you've decided, you put up a flag. Yeah, we're no longer part of polite society. So please make sure to help us out. Make sure to continue to make sure we can make these programs, have these conversations in the way that we have them. And I've heard from people that just being able to listen to people have casual conversations about this normalizes them. It's not even like listening to one guy rattle off a bunch of statistics or an analysis. Listening to me and Karen and Hannah and Lauren and Dr. Randericam and Mike just talk about these things like they're normal makes people feel like they're normal and like they can contend with them. So that is really critical. I know we might get more attention if we did the solo rants or whatever, but the truth is that just talking about it, just being able to listen to people talk about these things and contend with them in a group scenario normalizes them.
Yep.
So this format's important, what we say is important, and you guys are important to make sure that we can continue to do it. And you can do that at feedthebadger.com/support. All right. I want to thank you for getting us this far, but we still have a ways to go
because
it's getting pretty crazy out there.
Yeah, well, and this gig doesn't pay too good. For us grifters, I love it. I used to love it. You remember when Medicare used to call us grifters, and then he'd go on a live stream and collect like $14,000 in like 2 hours?
Yeah.
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 All
right.
Well, I mean, Medicare is like an Andrew Tate sort of.
Yeah. Well, he's not even as socially positive as Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate at least tells men to do some positive things like get in shape.
True. True.
Improve yourself, earn money, blah blah blah. Yeah. I don't think he's. I think he's like he's Gilgamesh 1/4 of the way through his journey. He still firmly believes he's 2/3 God, 1/3 man, and deserves whatever good things life decides to throw at him. And he's like, he's the shit.
And he's still got that
arrogance. Yeah. He's still got the arrogance. He's still got the selfishness. He's still got but if you look at Gilgamesh's journey, a quarter of the way through, that's probably where Andrew Tate is right now. And maybe at some point he'll get all the way to the end, but
given time, he's still young.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
I got a super chow from Noba Fan for $10. Thank you, Noba Fan. And he says, or they say, so I'm not sure if it's a dude. Hey, I know I asked this recently, but I thought I'd ask again about how you feel the responses were for Dickinson, the author of Great Expectations, since a number of people were calling him a misogynist. And I'd like your historical take also. They
Over
say,
Great Expectations?
I think it means, you know what? I don't know if it's Dickinson. It says Dickinson, but I think it means Dickens.
It's Dickens. Charles
Yeah,
Dickens.
Keep going.
They say, quote, Dickens isn't supporting women's points of view because in Victorian times, men were made to go out and do all the work and women were made to do the cleaning, cooking, and men thought they rule the women and they think that they are higher up. But in the novel, Great Expectations, Miss Havisham stands up for women's rights. End quote. Also, Karen, may I request your Marge voice to say the following? Maybe I should just like paste it into the chat here. And it's a reference to Oni plays when they played Simpsons Hit and Run, and it was hilarious. Okay, so let me drop the link in there, and then you can say what you wanted to say about Great Expectations.
Okay. No buts. Bring me the head of a pig. Bring me eggs. Only eggs can sustain me.
Okay. So
anyway, Great Expectations. Great book. It was an awesome book. One of the things that stuck out with me the most is Dickens' commentary on how to a child there is no feeling that a child can feel that is worse than injustice. Like just injustice. And but no, Mrs. Havisham was not standing up for women's rights. She was standing up for craziness. I'm guessing she either picked the wrong man who jilted her at the altar, or she was so freaking batshit insane already when she got engaged to him that he chickened out, when she was already in her wedding dress and he just didn't show up to the wedding. Okay. She was not, like, Miss Havisham was not a champion of women's rights. She was a bitter old cunt who got betrayed once. She literally lived in her wedding dress, okay, her entire life. She never took her wedding dress off. She's like an old lady who got jilted at the altar, never took her wedding dress off, and the wedding cake was infested with bugs and spiders, but she kept it in her salon where she could see it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not a feminist. That's a crazy person. And I'm guessing that
is there really that much difference, though?
And like the book actually kind of wants you to feel like being jilted was what made her crazy, right? But I was always like, you got to be 3/4 of the way there if something like that is going to put you off the deep end so hard that 40 years later you're still wearing the same wedding dress every day and you gaze at the wedding cake every fucking day. And you literally adopt a daughter and teach her to hate men because, hey, if you'd hated men the way you're teaching your daughter to, right, then you wouldn't have been jilted, and so she'll never be jilted because she'll just hate men. Yeah, no. Now that you made me think about it again there,
Nova fan?
Nova fan. I knew it was something fan. Now that you made me think about it again, no, Miss Havisham was just a freaking lunatic, and the guy realized too late after he'd asked her to get married. And then she went on some kind of lifelong journey to basically live in the moment of her greatest heartbreak and stay living there. And that's not healthy. She never moved on. And then she dragged an innocent young girl into her misery. It's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe she is a true feminist. you know, as far as feminists go, a lot of them are like bitter old cunts too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Alison, did you already do the thank yous?
Oh, I already did. I don't think we've received anything more, which is sort
Okay.
of surprising.
All right, let's keep going.
Double check.
Go
Nope,
ahead.
we just bought that $10. I guess I could try some arm twisting. Come on, guys, get it in there. Feedthebadger.com/support. Don't
All right.
scare the crap out of me.
Let's watch more of the video.
Okay, everybody. I don't do this. You guys know I don't e-beg, right? Just I don't want to hear Alison twist arms anymore. Can you just please? Please.
Yeah, $5 is fine.
$2.
Doesn't matter.
Anything.
Anything helps. Yeah.
Anything to shut
also,
this
maybe
bitch
smash
up.
that like button because I see that we don't have enough likes, so we need more likes. Give us some likes because maybe it'll, like allow newer people to see what we're doing. We did get a new subscriber. I don't know if you know that. Wayne Dean subscribes during our show. So thanks, Wayne Dean. I hope that you stay. If what we talk about doesn't drive you away screaming. So.
Well,
it's pure nightmare fuel, so
it can be. Oh,
I think it's hard. I think it's hard for
people. It is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But trying to be light about it, trying to be funny, getting angry, I think helps.
Getting angry is
especially getting funny angry.
Funny angry is
I
good.
don't know if I can manage funny angry.
Yeah, well,
but anyway, guys,
that's
please,
why nobody likes you, Alison. So
just take a moment to go to feedthebadger.com/support if you're able and put something in the hat. $5 is great. Just let's get this moving.
All right,
it'd be
let's
very
keep going.
appreciated. Weight off our mind.
Let's do it.
And actually being asked to share our opinions. Having pockets that can fit more than 2/3 of our cell phones.
Oh, you fucking gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. Okay, now, as somebody who has sewn clothes, I used to sew all the clothes for my kids. Okay? I have sewn an entire suit for a man. All right? And I sewed my own clothes, a lot of them. Pockets that you can actually fit things in. My husband walks around looking like some kind of cancerous leper. Okay? Because he looks like he has a 5-pound sack of potatoes in each of his front pockets in his pants. Okay? Like, he's got a notebook in there and 5 pens and 2 phones, right? Because he's got one phone for work and one phone for the hookers. And then, and he's got like everything in his pockets. And he's got these giant lumpy freaking thighs. Like, it's the most unattractive thing ever. Okay? Women would get pockets if they'd put things in their pockets, but they won't, because no woman wants a lumpy ass or lumpy thighs. They just don't want that. It would ruin the line of the clothes.
You remember what I said, Brian?
And do you know how much effort? Okay, because this is the thing. It's not just the cloth, right? And it is more cloth. And I know how skimpy, how stingy clothing manufacturers are as somebody with long legs who isn't 500 pounds, because somehow they think when you get fatter, you automatically get taller. And when you get skinnier, you automatically get shorter. Like, nobody who's skinny is like taller than 5'2". Anyway, so like, you don't need to make pants that are longer for skinny people, for skinny women. Okay, so like these are complaints, and these are like reasonable complaints, but making pockets just to make them when the women are never going to use them? Like, this is why you have a freaking handbag, bitch.
I said exactly this, except I used an example of a woman. I did like not a seminar, but we were doing a presentation in Fort Mac on urban design.
Ooh.
And I had a whole bunch of shit in my pockets, like, a pointer, like, and other stuff. Flashcards and stuff. And she took out like the flashcards out of her pocket. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I don't want to look fat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the flashcards are making you look fat. But I didn't say that.
No, it's like I used to put my wallet. I used to have a man's wallet put in my back pocket, put my keys in my front jeans pocket and stuff like that, right? And just various things, because I never cared, and because I wore men's jeans, because I never cared, and but you look at most women, they're never going to use, like, the only thing that they're ever going to put in their back pocket is and patch pockets like you have on jeans are super easy. Not like the back pockets that you have on dress pants that have, like, they're hidden pockets with, like, you know what they look like. No woman is going to put anything in those pockets, and she's not going to put anything in the pockets that rest right on top of her thighs. So
yeah, pockets are just not like. The only women who will put things in their pockets are tomboys.
Yeah, women who don't care.
Women
right?
who don't care. And
they probably don't worry about it because they wear men's jeans.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have a pair of women's jeans. I can't put anything in my pockets, so I have a fanny pack.
Oh, Alison.
Well, why?
A fanny pack? That's that's like walking around pregnant, only not pregnant.
Well, I can put my dog's treats in the fanny pack. I can put
I know. They're handy.
They're very handy when you're walking with a canine, like a high performance canine.
Yeah.
So you can pull out the laser pointer so he doesn't lunge at the fucking truck that sounds like a tiger going by.
Well, there you go. But yeah, no, it's like this is, we gave women what they wanted. Clothes that, like, because it's not just, like I said, it's not just the amount of fabric is more. The amount, like, when you're making a pair of trousers, everything is easy until you get to the waistband, the fly, the belt loops, and the pockets. 80% of the time that you put into sewing a pair of trousers is the waistband, the belt loops, the fly, and the pockets. So
I now have a few thank yous. Thank you guys. Yay, we got a super chow. So I got one from Adrian S. Thank you, Adrian S. $20.
Thank you.
Okay, don't let my husband hear that, because then he's gonna walk around saying that forever.
Okay, and then we got one from Jamie Van. Thank you, Jamie Van, for $50. Thank you.
Ooh. Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
Okay, and then we have one from Critter, a super chow. I can read it if you wish, Brian.
Oh, I have it up too. Whatever.
Okay, you can do it. Go ahead.
All right, Critter gives us $5 through the super chow and says, I just gave you $20 in your media blitz and now $5 here. Please spare Karen the wailing for a bit. She's such a nice lady. Keep it up, guys. You're all awesome. Thank you, Critter. So
thank you,
he gave us
Critter.
20, and was he one of the people that you just counted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he did give us $20.
Thank you very much, Critter. It's so sweet of you to lie like that.
Yeah.
All right, should we do just a little bit more?
Yeah, let's do a little bit more.
A little bit.
So, yeah, apparently men also have the privilege of paying less for haircuts, which we touched on already, but...
Much less
I cut my own hair, because you know why? Because I have a men's haircut.
Yeah, well, I
get the clippers out. I get the clippers out and...
And what number do you put it on?
Number 4.
See?
Yeah, okay.
Use clippers.
Is this not what I said? I said men have a choice between the blade being put at number 2 or number 4.
Yeah, I have it at 2. I like it tight.
No, I do number 4, although I'm thinking of switching to number 3, but I just don't know how to blend it to number 4 on the top, right? Because I don't want to take the top too short, but I don't trust myself to like keep the blending symmetrical.
You see, this is
Because
what happens.
I can't see the back of my head, so
We're seeing in real time why women's haircuts are more. She's worried about the blending. Your man would just be like, make the cliff. I don't care.
no, he'd just be like, okay, number 3, the whole go, right?
Yeah.
And no, but I don't want to go number 3 on top, but I don't like.
But I just find that hilarious because I said when this guy said
number 2 and number 4.
Number 2 and number 4. Yeah, right. That's why men's haircuts are less.
Yeah, no. And
so what they want to do is make men subsidize all the ridiculous crap women do to their hair.
Oh God, yeah, no. Like some of the shit that I watch when I do occasionally go into the salon and get my hair done, to the supercuts, because and supercuts doesn't charge different prices for haircuts.
No.
Yeah, no.
I think, but I have noticed that I actually pay more as a man if I go to supercuts than if I just go to like a barber.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. So I'm
even though I'm not getting anything special done.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the barber the next time because yeah, you are paying for, you're going in to get like number 3 all over your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the woman that comes in after you, she's gonna want like feathered layers and and all kinds of
blowout. She's gonna do some color. She's gonna,
Well, they charge more for color, but
they do.
Even for a cut, like I've cut my son's and my daughter's hair, for like since they were born. Like they've never. I think Sam, my youngest, went in and got one professional haircut done,
mm-hmm.
and my daughter went in right before her graduation and got her haircut in a salon. Other than that, I'm the one who has always cut their hair, and my daughter has always been the one that takes the most time and care because it's long and it's long all over. The boys, they both have long hair now. But with Jack, when he was young, I would just run the clippers over the whole thing. With Sam, when he was young, it was the same unless he wanted a mohawk, which was super easy anyway. And now he's got a Ragnar Lothbrok. Sunday, he phoned me. So can I come over and bring laundry and get my hair cut? 20 years old, manager at a store. Still needs his mom to cut his hair.
Huh. That's great, though. Manager of a store. All right, let's continue. Yeah.
Getting a noticeable increase in our paychecks. Not getting catcalled.
Wage gap.
Not being afraid to take public transit. Not feeling scared.
Can you believe that they asserted that?
Not being afraid of walking alone at night. Well, that's testosterone, honey. It makes you not afraid when you should be.
Actually, come to think of it, this individual doesn't seem to have gained much muscle mass or strength since between becoming a woman and a man. What does he think is suddenly protecting him? What do you think that women are more? You think that
women are more likely to be attacked? Yeah, no, they don't.
Jesus Christ, are you in for a shock? The first time he's actually recognized as a man by a criminal and he gets his head shoved into a brick wall, maybe he will shut the fuck up. I'm not saying that anybody should do that. But the reality is that he has now made himself a target. Yep. He's a small man.
Yep.
Criminals will not target women. We look at the statistics coming out of like a place like Afghanistan or Iraq. I think it was Iraq. The more people or criminals like tourists have control over their violence, the more likely they're to choose a man for it. So he has decided to enter the category of the most vulnerable people on the planet, which is a small man.
Oh yeah, no, it's like if you just look at crime statistics in Canada, the US, like basically all over the West, about 2/3 to 3/4 of all of the stranger assaults that occur out in public are have male victims. So it's like basically as a woman, you're already like 2 to 3 times less, maybe 4 times less likely to be assaulted. And so it's like, yeah, you don't have to feel afraid. Well, the reason you don't feel afraid, young man, is because you're taking testosterone supplements. And when women take testosterone supplements, they have more body confidence and they have less apprehension about their own physical safety. So, even when they identify as women, this is just, it's just
the effect of testosterone.
Testosterone dampens your apprehension. It basically transforms your apprehension into a different emotion. You still have like what the go-to sensation or emotion for women in response to a potential danger in the environment is apprehension. It's fear, right? And the go-to emotional response for men is more typically vigilance, right? So you keep an eye on that, but you don't get too excited. And like I've always skewed towards the male response to those things. Even my daughter, who's like the sweetest, nicest human being you've ever met. Yeah. Like she literally sounds like that when she's talking. And she defaults to vigilance, not being afraid of people. That's why she's always the person after the assault or the accident who sticks around in order to be a witness for the police.
Okay.
All right.
I just wanted to say, since we didn't get very far in, would you possibly be able to come back on Sunday, Karen?
Sunday, as long as it's before, oh God, because I got somewhere to be at, 5, and then so yeah, if we can be done by 3:30 or 4, I could probably come back on Sunday. I could definitely come back tomorrow.
Well, we'll figure it out. I usually take Saturday off, but me and Brian take it off.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, you know what? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll finish
well, I can make myself available because Lindsay works. I think she starts at 2 my time, which is like noon your time. So anytime after that is good because I don't have anything to do until I have to go pick her up. So
okay, all right. We'll figure it out. Yeah, but anyway, probably yeah. Okay, so guys, once again, we're doing our monthly fundraiser, feedthebadger.com/support. Please help us out. Make sure we're able to continue to do this work. I think it's really critical. Even it's critical the way we do it too. The way that we present these issues in a formal setting through a conversation between people who aren't, I don't know, just hashing things out.
And
all right,
not taking things too seriously.
I take things pretty seriously when I get
things. Yeah, well, I just like to yell. So
yeah,
when
Karen just likes to yell.
When people say stupid stuff,
I like to yell when they say things that I just can't fucking believe the mendacity of it.
But it's like primal scream therapy.
Yeah, it is. It's like, oh, for the love of God, I cannot believe that I exist in this era, in this civilization, listening to you.
The pocket argument again, really?
I know. Well, it's like this is basically the invisible knapsack is like a blast from like 10 years ago.
No, the invisible knapsack. It was like that was the 1990s or some shit.
They don't update this shit. I mean, they get one of their things checked off. Like middle management is almost entirely female now, and they don't update it.
Yeah.
You know,
except for my son, he may start identifying as a woman soon, just for the shits and giggles.
You know what? Good for him. Her. All right. So once again, if you want to make sure we can,
I'm just going to
continue
calling him Samantha.
Continue to do this. Go to feedthebadger.com/support. We make the pain a little less painful, I suppose. And if you want to send us a message, you can do so even after the show at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And we'll see you probably shortly. Probably fairly shortly. Back to you, Brian.
All right. So if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today, and please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thanks guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Fundzerker, which is basically the Rantzerker, but at the end of the month. We'll talk to you guys.
With more Benadryl.
Yeah, and we'll talk to you guys in the next video.
Right, activists are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.